Welcome once again, Rich Palladino for All Access Entertainment here at New England Fan Fest. And as a ring announcer, I am very excited to get to speak to another ring announcer, a far better ring announcer who worked more towns, probably made more money, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Dunn.
Thank you, Rich.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. And
That's high praise coming from you. I really appreciate it.
You are far too kind. Let's get right into these questions, sir. Tell us about your childhood and how you first discovered pro wrestling.
Well, that's kind of interesting. I remember when I was like 5 years old, my dad took me to the arena building in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. First time I ever saw Macho Man. And Macho Man and I were really not that, I mean, he may be 10 years older than I mean, he was young then. And he made that grand entrance with all that sparkle. And that had me.
That's how you got hooked. How did you hook up with the WWF, and when did you start?
Okay, in 1988, we opened our major events facility in the town that I grew up in and the university that I was attending. And I was finishing my master's degree, and I was also the merchandiser at the Show Me Center, and as a part-time job. And we did 3 shows the first year because it opened in '88. We did Bob Hope, Tina Turner, and a WWF televised event with Hulk.
Wow.
As the draw.
Yeah.
And so anyway, after the show, the merchandise guy said, "Hey, you're pretty good at this, you know, and we're hiring. Send me your resume." Sent my resume. They flew me to Stanford, hired me on the spot as a merchandiser.
Yeah.
And so went on the road with that. And then one time, and I don't remember who didn't show, but I believe it was in Visalia, California, just a regular house event, and the announcer didn't show. And they said, "Bill, you're going to have to be our announcer today." So
dream come true.
And so I said, "Okay, no problem." I was a theater minor, so I'm used to being in front of people.
Sure.
It didn't bother me, you know.
Sure.
After the event, they said, "Hey, you know what? You're pretty good at that. You're going to be our new house guy, our new house ring announcer."
Yeah.
And then one time in Erie, Pennsylvania, I did that for a few months. One time in Erie, Pennsylvania, and I don't remember what year, we were doing a TV taping. The announcer didn't show. They said, "Bill, we need you to be our TV announcer tonight."
Wow.
And that was a little nerve-wracking.
I'd say.
But after, they said the same thing. They said, "Hey, you're pretty good at that. You're going to be our new TV guy from now on."
Jeez.
Yeah.
Hitting all the marks. I
Like
love it.
that.
So was that TV taping, was that like a wrestling challenge or Superstars? Was it like 3 weeks of TV?
Yeah. So it would have been, at that time, Challenge, and then I think we did Superstars. But I think maybe it was just Challenge that night.
Okay.
I remember it was a cage match. I do remember that.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's
Long time ago.
So other than announcing and the merchandising, did you have any other roles in WWE or WWF?
Oh, let's see. Of course, we all had to play the medic every once in a while.
Of course.
The guy in the white coat, you know, who runs out to the ring and goes, "Oh, no."
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I got to play a medic a few times. Production, you know, you were always involved in production. You always wore many hats. I mean, sometimes you had to be the ring announcer, the timekeeper, the production manager,
Wow.
and the robe guy.
Jeez. That's a little bit of everything. That sounds like my world on the Indies.
That was all in one evening.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine at that level. I'll do ring announcing, ring the bell, keep the time,
Timekeeper.
give the referee cues so they could tell the workers where they are.
Yes.
I feel that pain. It's good to know it goes all the way to the top, so it doesn't end. So memories of my hero, Howard Finkel.
Howard is,
Yeah.
he brought me along, and I mean, he did it without, I mean, you know, without malice, and he was right there and telling me what to say
Mm-hmm.
and how to say it.
Yeah.
And in fact, my favorite that he did for me was WrestleMania 10 in Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first pay-per-view.
Wow.
Well, did half of it anyway.
Yeah.
But Howard was the one who said, "This is what I want you to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Welcome to the event that was 10 years in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WrestleMania 10." And,
Hell yeah.
And Howard wrote that for
Yeah.
me. So that was all Howard.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, he used to, we have a Hall of Fame ceremony, and he was the host, and then they asked me to be the co-host. So he would
Nice.
induct folks from like WWF, WWE, and I would induct our local independent troupe here from New England, and he treated me better than he needed to. We
Excellent.
became friends. So
He was that kind of guy.
yeah,
He really
I
was.
miss him dearly. What were your interactions with Vince McMahon like?
They were very nice. You know, Vince liked to put on a persona
Yes.
for most of the time,
Yep.
but actually, quite a gentleman.
Yeah. I've done 3 of these interviews today. Charlie Min, Steve Taylor, and you, and everybody said the exact same thing.
The one thing that you always had to remember with Vince is he was a perfectionist.
Mhm.
So if you weren't doing it perfectly, then he had a little problem with
Yeah,
you.
of course. Man doesn't sleep.
But for the most part, he would always just help you through it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Walk us through your entire day at TV in the WWF.
Oh boy, those were long.
Get you
Those
get
were-
catering though.
Okay, again, there you would wear several hats.
Yeah.
You would take care of the merchandise.
Yep.
Okay, and then when I started announcing, did both, and I also did. Since I was in the merchandise, I did the. We would go in the production meeting. I would make notes as to, okay, during this match, I got to have this piece of merchandise in the crowd
That was that mid-90s stuff,
where the
wasn't it?
camera can see it.
Yep.
And, you know.
Yep.
So that was actually pretty complicated
Yeah.
because you had a lot of matches going on.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, when the event started, of course, beforehand, you'd have to go to makeup, because if you don't wear makeup, you look like a blob on TV because the lights were so intense and hot.
Yeah.
And then usually after the event, take off the tuxedo, put the suit back on, and go count the merchandise.
Wow.
And pack up the merchandise. And then pretty much go back to the hotel and get ready for another 18-hour day the next day.
Yeah.
Because we always did 3 in a row. We did 3 days in a row.
Oh, wow.
Just logistically, because of the amount of equipment.
Yeah.
And, you know, Steve Taylor was the guy who oversaw all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the greatest production manager we ever had.
Yeah.
Steve
And what a
Taylor.
gentleman, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Very great.
really good to catch up with him. Who are some of the nicest people to work with?
Top of my list is Bret Hart.
Wow. Very nice.
Undertaker, fantastic. Andre the Giant was a prince. Paul Bearer and I were great friends. Mr. Perfect, Mike Rotunda, and I know I'm leaving somebody out. And a guy who was here tonight, Barry Horowitz,
Yes.
one of the nicest men you've ever met.
Yeah, I've been watching Barry on TV since 1981, and I got to induct him into the New England Hall of
That's
Fame.
right.
And then he pulled me aside in the green room next door and told me that my induction speech was fantastic and professional. He said it was 99.9% perfect. Wouldn't tell me what the .1 that I messed up was, but
Well, he deserved every bit of that as well as you do.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Were you ever ribbed? And do you have any good stories of being ribbed by any of the boys?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. Some I don't think I need to tell those stories.
I got you. It's a family show. Family show. Any specific memories ring announcing on Superstars?
Superstars? No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, that was all pretty cut and dried. You were there more for the house.
Yeah.
You weren't on TV that much.
Yeah.
You were on TV for a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were basically there to get the crowd up.
Yeah. Of course. Who was your favorite superstar to announce? I know that's a loaded
You know
question.
what? I absolutely loved the Rockers were great, Marty and Sean. But when Sean kind of broke away and became his, the Heartbreak Kid,
Yeah.
that was a fun guy to announce.
Yeah. That's cool. Very cool.
He, it was always, from San Antonio, Texas, weighing 228 pounds or whatever it was. I
Sure.
can't remember. But he'd start coming into the ring, and he actually complimented me on this. I would always give him a little bit of a guttural, Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
Yeah.
And he goes, that always puts a little extra
Yes.
little jump in my step. He goes,
That's awesome.
thanks for doing that. And I did it that way every time after that.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome. Great engagement with the performer and the crowd. That's amazing. I think we touched on this a little bit. Do you remember your very first TV appearance?
yeah, it was Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I do remember, but I do not remember what year.
That's all right. We got some historians in the building. We'll find out for sure. Who was the hardest to work with?
The hardest.
Anybody give you a hard time or not?
You never enjoyed it when Yokozuna set on you, which he liked to do.
Oh, just like in the back? Just like sit on your lap
Oh, no.
or something?
In the ring.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, he'd come over and sit on you while you were sitting next to the ring.
Jesus. God rest his soul.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Bless
my
his
God.
heart.
Yeah. We touched on WrestleMania 10. Any other memories other than opening the show the way Mr. Finkel told you to?
I absolutely had a fantastic time. We did a match with Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, and I got to announce that.
It was the opener.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
The other one was Sean and
Razor.
and Razor, the ladder
Yes.
match.
Yeah.
I got to do that.
Damn.
And that was a match.
Wow.
Those poor guys were so beat up the next day.
I can only
They
imagine.
could barely move.
Wow. Those are two solid memories right there.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
announcing The Undertaker was always fun.
Yeah.
And we all did that the same.
Yeah.
And Howard Finkel started that.
Yeah.
And we just copied him. Nobody could beat that.
Everybody's got a little bit of Fink in them for sure. Any road stories from your time in WWF? And I'll add, who do you usually travel with?
Depending on when you started, okay, and what tour you were on. I started out on what we would call like the C card, okay, and then of course I got to move up to the B card, and then eventually the A card.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you just travel with one of the agents, Arnie Skolin.
Wow.
And I traveled the world together.
Wow.
And I love that man. And we had so much fun.
Yeah.
I remember being in Ireland once with Arnie, and we're sitting at the hotel bar after the event. And there are two young ladies, and we're talking to them. Well, I was talking to them, and Arnie was just looking at them. And he goes, Bill, what language are they speaking? And I'm like, English, Arnie. It's just got an Irish accent.
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. God rest his soul.
Oh, I miss that guy. We ran all over the place together.
Yeah. He was no nonsense. Always had that cigar,
Well,
playing
yeah.
cards in the back.
But you know what? Every Lent, he gave up that cigar.
Really?
Every Lent.
Oh, that's a little fun fact.
And Arnie and I, we used to share a hotel room. And every morning when he got up, he would literally get down on his knees and say his morning prayers.
Wow.
And then he would turn around and he'd say, you know what's a good day, Bill? And I'd say, what, Arnie? He'd say, when you can get up, say your prayers, and smoke a cigar.
Not so much the vitamins, but have that good old cigar. That's awesome. Do you have any memories of the late Gorilla Monsoon?
I do. First, he was fantastic to work with. The most professional guy we ever had in the gorilla cage, you know, and that's he pretty much ran where we were going, you know. But unfortunately, the memory that I have the most of him is when Joey had that automobile accident, and of course we all went to the funeral, and of course Gorilla was up there receiving everyone, and I remember I just grabbed his arms and I couldn't hold back my tears, and
Yeah.
bless Hardy couldn't either. And that we never said a word. We just looked at each other and cried and
Yeah.
walked on.
Yeah. Joey Morello is a wonderful referee. Anybody that may not know who the Joey is that's being referenced here, Gorilla Monsoon's son.
Joey was a lot of fun too
Yeah.
on the road.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah. It's a shame that he's gone, and but he's in heaven with his dad right now, so in the gorilla position, of course, waiting at the gate.
Nice.
Any memories from Titan Towers?
Well, let's see. This is probably gonna, I don't know if we, all right. That's when, I remember when Stephanie first started working for her dad. And she was a receptionist on the top floor, right?
Yeah.
We were on the third floor. But we also had a smoking area in the third level parking lot. And when Stephanie was about 18, she used to come out there with us.
Yeah, Vince hates smoking.
Yes, he did. I don't think she smoked very much.
Yeah.
You know, maybe just every once in a while. But I do remember that when she was like 18, she'd come out there with us on the third floor parking level
Wow.
in Titan Tower.
Now there's a good Titan Tower memory. That's amazing. I had a tryout with WWE in 2003, and I was a smoker at the time, and I remember my friends who were usually extras telling me, do not even bring a pack of cigarettes into the arena. I'm like, no problem. Didn't get the job, but that's okay. But that was a hell of a story. Did you collect any merchandise over the years while you were working there?
You know, I did, but I also gave most of it away.
Yeah.
You know, just because people appreciated it so much.
Yeah.
But what I've got is some really unique posters that I'm very proud of, that I brought back. One from Japan, Sapporo Mania, which I've never seen a duplicate. I've tried looking online for it, and there is nothing out there. Pretty proud of that little poster.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, man.
Should have brought it today and sold it
sh-
at the convention.
I showed Joe. I took a picture of it.
Uh-oh.
I showed Joe, and all he could say was, "That poster."
I have to have it.
We might talk about that, Joe.
Hell yeah. Any personal memories of Andre the Giant?
Yes, and this is one of the reasons that he was just an absolute prince. Tim White and I were very good friends, and Tim was basically Andre's handler.
Yeah.
assistant,
Yeah.
took care of his reservations, things like that. And was also the ref, right? Tim's gone too,
Yeah.
rest his soul. But the most wonderful thing about sitting with Andre is if you were, we went through a lot of airports and a lot of hotels. Those are pretty much the gig, a lot of it. If you were sitting at the bar with Andre, you would never buy a drink. But here's the catch. Andre would take a drink, 1 drink, 2 drinks, another, and give him another one, give him another one. Well, pretty soon, you're going to have 6 drinks backed up in front of you. And obviously, someone my size couldn't keep up with Andre.
No, legendary drinking stories. I just found a video of Jake Roberts being told to drive Andre somewhere, and Andre said, beer, and they got 2 cases of beer, and Andre was sitting in the back of this van, and by the time they got to the arena, whatever it was, I don't know, 80, 90 miles, they were all gone, and he thought like Andre ribbed him and like peed in the back of the van and stuff. He was like, no, the man drank 48 beers over a 90-mile drive.
When you're that big.
And his hand, they said, would basically make this entire can like disappear. So
Arnie Scowen took me back. I remember it was in Poughkeepsie, and at a TV taping. And he goes, come on back. I want you to meet some of the boys. And he introduced me to Andre for the first time. And Andre just stuck 1 finger out and shook. Yeah, that's how you shake it.
yeah, it's not the kayfabe shake. It's literally just shaking Andre's big, gigantic finger.
Yes.
That's amazing. Tell us about some of your celebrity interactions while you were there.
You mean as in like
Celebrities at like WrestleMania
okay,
or whoever?
Burt Reynolds.
Wow.
WrestleMania 10 was our guest ring announcer.
Yep.
Jenny Garth was our guest timekeeper. So I've got a wonderful photo because I was really pleased to meet Burt Reynolds, right? And Jenny Garth as well. But I told him after he came out of the ring, and if you look at that tape very closely, he's got a broken arm. And this was in the news about a week before. Presumably he fended off an attacker in Central Park. The guy was trying to mug him, and that's how he broke his arm. And you could probably trace that down through old newscasts.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he got out of the ring, and I just said, Mr. Reynolds, it's really an honor to meet you. And the nicest thing he did. He just put his arm around me and gave me a big hug.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow.
That's amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
What a nice guy.
That's a great celebrity interaction right there. So other than Yokozuna just wanted to sit on you or something, did you ever get in the crossfire and take a bump?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. Sammy of the Head Shrinkers would always like to bring me in
Oh, God.
on the match.
Wow.
Even though I didn't want to do it, he'd make me. And Hunter, we did this thing. When Hunter first started, he'd come out, and of course he was kind of started out as that kind of the Victorian character, as I recall.
Yeah. Hunter
And
Hearst Helmsley.
yes.
British snob or something.
He would always grab me, by the ring,
Yeah.
and make me get on my hands and knees, and he would use me as a step. And of course, you go, oh.
Yeah, of course. Sell it, brother.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
And let's see, gosh dang, it was also Hunter and Henry O. Godwin. You remember him?
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
Well, they did a slop match. And more often than not, I was the one who got slopped.
Of course. What was in the bucket?
What was it made of?
What was in the bucket?
Cornflakes, milk, and water.
Gross.
Yeah.
Still gross. Still gross. What was your favorite match you ever witnessed live?
I'm going to have to go back to that
That's
Razor and Shawn match. That's unbelievable work there. Unbelievable. Those guys are the best cross-trained athletes you can imagine.
Yeah, without a doubt. What were some of your favorite venues to ring announce in?
Oh, I mean, just about all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I remember the first time I announced Hulk, sold out in Cincinnati, so about 10,000 people. And you know how this feels. When you get into the ring and there are 10,000 people looking at you, you feel their energy as much as it's more than you can imagine.
Sure.
And that was my first time that I got to announce Hulk, and that was a rush. That was a rush.
I'll bet. I'll bet. So we have a guest at the convention today. Have you had any interactions with this young lady, Mike McGurk?
Mike McGurk and I worked together for many, many years, and yes, we just got our pictures taken.
Oh yeah.
She was
Take the picture, kids.
She was quite pleased. She was as pleased to see me as I was to see her.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I met her last night. Very, very nice lady. Big fan, and just great to have both
And
of you
of course,
here.
Rockin' Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a big party to get to over there. We've got to interact with all these people. What are some of your favorite memories of working with the WWF?
You know, I got to say that everything, of course, it was exciting, exhilarating, exhausting. Travel was brutal most of the time because you were just basically covering ground from A to B. Okay, you get there as quickly as you can, do the job, and go on after that.
Making towns.
One of my favorite things, I absolutely, Black Jack Lanza and I worked together more than any other agent that I got to work with, and it was usually Black Jack, Dave Hebner, and then I was usually the announcer for that show, and that was usually the A show. I'm not trying to brag.
No.
But that was a lot of fun working with Blackjack. We had fun.
I'll bet. He liked the occasional rib.
But it was, it was used to kill me, and you'd hate seeing this. If you were in the ring, and it was not usually during television, but if you were doing a house event and you screwed up, you'd see Blackjack coming down that aisle. He had that limp going, and he'd have that the tablet, the little hard, what do you call this, easel or what,
Clipboard.
Clipboard.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry.
And he'd be waving that clipboard, and you'd just go, oh no.
I'm in trouble. Do you have any New England specific memories at either, say, Boston Garden or the nearby Providence Civic Center?
You know what? I think I have this very, I'm going to call it an honor. We did the last event in the original Boston Garden, okay? And I got to be the ring announcer.
Yep.
And I can't remember the name of the event.
I'm trying to remember. A Night to Remember, or it was...
I think it was A Night to Remember.
Yeah, because I have the program, which apparently is worth some good money.
I was actually the last man to be thrown out of the ring by George the Animal Steele in that event.
Oh, wow.
So to me, that's a great honor.
Wow, that is something. Right there in Boston. When was your last show with announcing with the WWF?
My last tour was over in Dubai, and we were there for about a week, and it was me and Jim Myers. George.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And so, yeah, we did a week in, yeah, it was either Kuwait or Dubai. I think it was Dubai. Yeah.
And what year?
That would have been 98.
98,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
You got any advice to up-and-coming ring announcers?
Well, I think that you definitely don't want to do the Southern Baptist preacher. You would probably just want to, I remember I had an old acting coach and in high school, and he taught me that when you're doing a newscast or something like what we do, you just have to kind of like you're smiling while you're talking, but not actually smiling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I always tell young ring announcers, the show's not about you.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't try and be the center of attention because
no. You put the guys over who are.
yeah. I go to an indie show and I see a guy with like a light up jacket or an eye patch or a cowboy hat or something.
No,
nobody's there to see you.
No.
That's
Your background.
That's it.
Your background.
That's it. Did you keep up with wrestling after WWF?
Yeah, I'd watch occasionally because I still had a lot of friends there.
Yeah. Did you do any ring announcing?
No.
Like independently or anything?
98. This is the first time I've had anything to do directly with wrestling since 1998.
Wow. Well, it's an honor to have you.
Well, it's an honor to
glad
be
you
here.
could be here and get to see some old friends today.
Yeah, that was a big blast. Big blast.
Well, my next question that was handed to me by our producers says, when you left WWF, you vanished and never returned. Why was that?
That just seemed to be, because I'd seen other folks go, and I guess in my mind, I just figured that it was like riding a wave. And a wave is always going to find a shore. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So pretty much the ride's over.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yes. Okay. So you were big into gardening post WWF. Tell us a little bit about that and your history there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We have great producers that put these questions together.
That's a great question. For those 10 years that I traveled for WWF, I never had a chance to give much back to the community. And so I joined several organizations, and one of them was called the Downtown Merchants Association of Cape Girardeau, and one of which I eventually became president. Everybody had to serve a term as president. Okay,
Sure. A rite of passage.
So what we wanted to do was to give something back to the community without asking for anything. So what we did was we created a scholarship garden out of a parking lot. And, did the good organic soil, put the little borders around it. And over the course of 18 years, which is how long I did it, we raised 2 scholarships.
Wow.
That's like 20 grand.
Yeah.
Just by taking donations for vegetables that
Wow.
we grew.
I got 17-year-old twins that are going to college next year, so maybe I'm going to start doing some gardening.
There can
Get some
never
scholarships.
be enough scholarships.
Yeah. No, you ain't kidding. Just the tours alone are killing me. So tell us about working with food and beverage in recent years and how that came about. I know.
I was in optical for a while, for 10 years, and, salesman, doing some lab work in optical. So did that for 10 years. And I got a dear friend who owns a bar that I had also been attending since 1988, and the 88 keeps coming back around. But you know, the optical business was kind of going down. The industry was changing, and my buddy asked me if I'd like to do that. And so I was his catering director for a while, and bartended 2-3 nights a week, and then now eventually I became the bar manager, and still bartend 2 or 3 nights a week.
Hell yeah.
It's fun.
Oh, I bet.
It's entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, God. I can imagine just the stories. So, and then you can just fire back with, hey, I worked for the WWF for 10 years. You want to hear about what I did? Anything you would have done differently in your career?
In my career? You know, I don't think so. Like I said, I wish that I maybe would have considered doing things like this a little more often.
Yeah.
You know, and just keeping my hand in it. So I guess that, yeah.
Maybe this is the start.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I mean, this is New England Fan Fest. There's WrestleCon. There's all kinds of conventions. You know, would love to see you back out there, and
Well,
I think you're enjoying yourself.
If I get invited back, I'll certainly come.
Love it, love it. And who would you say is your Mount Rushmore of WWF?
The Mount Rushmore of
Like, give me
WWF.
4 heads up there.
You know, I think probably the one who deserves it most was Bobby the Brain Heenan.
That's excellent. Yeah, that's fantastic. Quick name game, and then we're going to wrap it up. Bret Hart. Thoughts?
Oh.
It's your favorite, but
Yeah. I mean, what a guy. What a guy. Nicest guy. And I remember, and you know, he had such a way of working the crowd. And it wasn't fancy. You know, well, he did the Boston Crab, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of his signature moves.
Right.
And I remember one time we were in Anaheim, the Arrow, what is that, the pond?
Arrowhead Pond.
Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim, yeah. And he was putting the crab on somebody. Yeah, I don't remember who, but some guy in the front row said something about, you know, hey, Bret, you know, where did you get your education? And Bret said something like, you know what, if I really had an education, do you think I'd be doing this for a living?
that's awesome. How about some memories of Owen Hart?
Owen was, he was a prankster.
I was just going to say, you must have got ribbed by Owen
Oh,
once.
constantly. And Davey Boy Smith and him, when they were a tag team, you got it from both of them constantly. But it was all fun and good nature, you know.
Yeah, of course.
High school stuff, you know.
Yeah. You got to have some fun on the road.
Yeah.
How about some memories of Lex Luger?
Lex, wow. Again, nice guy. But I can't believe that what eventually happened with Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lex was. I mean, if I had to give a description of a superhero kind of type, I think that he's probably the closest to being that superhero type.
Oh yeah, when they needed a hero and they took him from the narcissist to become the Lex Express, which was stopping literally all over the country. That's and then the whole USS Intrepid deal with the slamming Yokozuna. I mean, yeah. I mean, hell of a career. Yeah, things did not end as well, and I know he's got some physical ailments right now, but can't deny, man, that body that man had, and
Oh.
you know, I remember watching Lex when he started like in Florida in '85, couldn't cut a promo to save his life. And then by the time he got to like NWA, WCW, now he's part of the Horsemen, damn well better learn how to cut a promo. And then just to see the athlete he became, a former football player and stuff, just I met him a time or two, a very nice guy too.
Well, he was cut.
Yeah.
He was ripped.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. How about, did we talk about Joey Morella?
Yeah, we did.
We did. We mentioned,
Yeah.
I know we were talking about, I've done too many interviews today. How about Steve Taylor, who's here today, the
Steve
longtime
Taylor's
photographer?
Steve Taylor is the best production manager ever.
Yeah.
And then not just in this, he was the absolute best in this industry, but you know, he's done other things. He, you know, MSG, he
Yeah.
worked, and that was like, I can't imagine trying to hold 5 different venues together just on the logistics alone.
Yeah.
But he was the absolute best production manager. He was a damn fine photographer.
Yeah.
But I'm like going, no, this guy was the best production manager ever.
How about some memories of Hulk Hogan?
Well, I can't really go into that very far. How can we do that? Well, you know what? In Missouri, it's legal now. But the first time I did work with Hulk Hogan, and it was in St. Louis, and it was an old building called the Keel.
Mm-hmm.
And, no, it was the Checker Dome. The Keel was still the old Opera House, yeah, the Checker Dome. And the agent, Jack Lanza, came and said, before you announce Hulk, he wants you to come in and talk to him about how we're going to do this, you know. And so I went in there, and, well, okay, there was a joint being passed around.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So Hulk's like, you know what? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
Well, when I hit that ring, I was like, oh, that was probably not a good idea.
Oh, boy. Wow.
But yeah. Another nice memory I have of Hulk is we were doing an event with a matinee somewhere in California, and the next stop was Edmonton. And so California was the matinee. Edmonton was the night show.
Yeah.
Bad weather situations, and the agent said, okay, we've rented a Learjet. You're going on it, the referee is going on it, and Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, and Hulk Hogan are going on it. And you guys go up there and get it going, and then we'll get there as we can.
Yeah.
And which everybody did. He eventually arrived.
Yeah.
So-
Wow.
So flying on a Learjet with Hulk and Brutus and one other person, that makes you feel pretty special.
Yeah, that's kind of top of the pecking order. Very nice. Yokozuna.
Yeah, Yoko. Yeah, like I said.
Good times with him.
Yeah.
He said sweet guy, right?
Rodney was a sweetheart.
How about the Macho Man, Randy Savage?
I did. Macho was kind of, you know, he stayed in character. He never got out of character. But nice man.
Yeah. Intense.
Very intense. Probably the most intense man I've ever met.
Yeah. I'd say I've heard some great stories about him.
Oh, I have too.
And last on the list, The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Any memories? Just anything?
He was, you know, I always ask him because he was such is such an intelligent person.
Yeah.
And I remember he described, I think we were over in Europe, and one of the fans asked him, says, you know, so what do you think about being the Undertaker? And I think he said something like, You know, I'm just very fortunate that our society views me, the Undertaker, as almost a positive thing, and that's
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah,
That's thoughtful.
that is. That is.
Always impressed me though.
Yeah.
But I love Paul Bearer too.
God
Paul-
rest his soul.
God rest his
He
soul.
used to come up here and do for another promotion I worked for out in Massachusetts, and he was basically like booking the shows. He would come up like every 6 weeks. We'd have a show, and we had a show that coming Saturday, and he had passed away earlier that Tuesday, Wednesday, and very good relationship
I
with
heard
him.
that.
He just treated me like a friend.
Oh, we were buddies on the road.
Yeah.
We were buddies on the road.
Yeah.
And the reason that we became such good buddies is we were standing in line at the airport one time, and I looked over at his boarding pass, and he looked over at mine, and about the same time, we went, huh, because his real name was William Alvin. My real name is Alvin William. So we immediately hit it off after that.
That's and that's the end of the story. I don't think we can top that. This has been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad you're here. I hope you do more of these throughout the country. More people should hear your stories, and it's been my honor to interview, sir.
Well, Rich, thank you. It's been my honor as well.
Thank you. All Access Entertainment, FanFest, more to come later today with a different host.